given all the choices we have in day-to-day life, showing up to meditation, showing up to doing nothing, sitting still, often seems like a strange choice, but it may be the most important choice that anybody can make. The phrase bearing the weight of the world, or bearing the weight of the world on your shoulders, have risen up in me. And yesterday it was very strong, and it's still there. And it seems like it wants to be spoken about. And it's kind of been a subject for the last period of time in my talks on some level. But let me just say, it's impossible to bear the weight of the world on your shoulders. You cannot. And when the world gets heavier, denser, more complicated, more annihilating, more frustrating, more frightening, all of those things, trying to hold it off, trying to keep it away, trying to walk through the day-to-day life with that dimension of difficulty is not a good life. It's just not the way to live. And I certainly have moments of being totally guilty of that, because it's very easy. All you have to do is turn on your phone, turn on your computer. I get a newspaper every day. The weight of the world comes smashing in. And the only alternative to that, honestly, and it's one we've all been taught long ago who've been practicing this, is don't stay in the world. Don't sit primarily, exclusively in the world. The world is half of the equation. It's a part. It is dominating. It is compelling. It is the story of everything we know about. It is very sort of the source of instruction, the source of almost everything we know, except that it's not the source. It's the manifestation. It's the outer expression. The source is not approachable really by the outer force. It is really approachable by an inward journey. It is approachable by going into your inner space and finding the extraordinary invitation it offers to a quietude, a stillness, an openness, joy, a beauty, a kind of welcoming to the alternative to the weight of the world. It casts off the weight of the world as long as you're there. And if you go inside, which is definitely the practice that we've been given, if you go to this place and knock on the door, it shall be opened. And if that door opens to you in your heart, in your mind, in your gut, and you step inside, I always talk about the enormity of the welcoming that awaits you. There's something in us that goes, come on in, sit still, be available, be open, be quiet. Kind of gives you a cup of tea. It kind of gives you a little comfortable chair. If you need it, it'll give you a wrap, because it's chilly. It'll give you what you need to find a kind of comfort away from all the other stuff. What is the reality of the other stuff? What is the reality of the world around us? Well, there's a lot of theological discussion about that. And it definitely is an engaging space. It is a world of profound interest. Some people call it illusion or dream. Other people, it's reality. But whatever it is dynamic. It does call the body to attention. It says, do what I be part of this, find a way to eat, find a way to sleep, find a way to protect everybody, find a way to do, build a world and create comfort and happiness and joy for yourself. And, great. We can all do that, and we can all struggle to do that. But we're doing that with a kind of wonderful understanding, certainly codified by Buddhist teaching, which is it's all totally impermanent, which means all of your happiness, all of your achievement, all of your ability to hold the world on your shoulders in a way is really temporary. So if you have built a great house and you find happiness with your friends and your families and your jobs and your children or whatever else you have to bring you happiness to whatever degree it does, that's all wonderful. But it's impermanent. It will not last. It will corrode. It will fall apart. It will change. It will become something other than what you want it to be. And it will bring unhappiness. It will bring sadness. It will bring loss. It will bring grief. And that's inevitable because it's impermanent. It's all taken away. Where is the refuge in all of that, if there is one? Well, it's not in a beautiful home. It's not in having family. It's all a wonderful reflection of something remarkable, but it is changeable and losable. But the practice, the Rudy work, the meditative life is go into something, one, that welcomes you, two, that offers a pathway, an indicator, if you will, to something that may not be impermanent, that may actually be permanent. Can I totally attest to that? No. But my experience, my meditative experience, my life experience has told me that this pathway in is to something much bigger, much more foundational, much more extraordinarily capable of providing you what you are looking for, the happiness, if you will. Although happiness is a problematic word because there's also unhappiness, and that you don't want that. And so if you go into the world of happiness, you have to deal with the world of opposites. It gives you something a little bit closer to contentment, which also has discontent, but it's not quite as dramatic as happy, unhappy. It allows you a world that you start to get true support from. And it goes deeper and deeper. And one of the most amazing things about the inner journey is how massive and vast it is, how absolutely directive and comforting and involving it is. And if you can get past your own, oh, I don't want to do that today. Oh, I've got other stuff on my agenda. Oh, God, sit again. Why should I do that? If you get past that noise that will form in many of your heads, and you can go, this is what I do. It's called, in Rudy's terms, the work. If you do the work, you bring yourself into a daily communion with this welcoming space. If the world is weighing you down, if you feel it on your shoulders and you're carrying the weight day by day, it is insufferable and it will probably get worse. My experience, shared with you on a weekly basis, is that the world is also your bodily form. And is, speaking of impermanence, it's announcing to you, especially at a certain point, it's coming to an end. It's not getting younger. It's not getting more vibrant and vivacious. It's definitely the house of, and a collapsing house on some level, of this exquisitely beautiful knowing. It surrounds the knowing. It is not strong enough as you get older, or even many of you at your age, to bear the weight of the world. It's just not strong enough. And when the world comes at you with hurricanes, it comes at you with drought, it comes at you with, wars and political upheavals and all that other stuff, and you try to hold on to that stuff, you are going to find that the form that's holding it is just not, it's not last, it can't last. It's too powerful. It's just too powerful. And if you don't have somewhere else to go other than, as I say, usually drugs and alcohol and playing golf or whatever your things are, if you don't have somewhere else to go, you are going to be crushed by the worldly events. Maybe you'll be crushed in a way that will push you toward this inner awareness, but as Rudy said, it was work to get there. If you haven't done the work, if you haven't found the path inward, you are going to face a total confusion. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I handle this? What the weight of the world collapsing on you is not fun. It's not a good thing to have happen. And yet, there are times historically, and they seem to be kind of ritualized and rhythmically available. They come and go, and they come and go. They repeat in many ways. When we come into a time of the rising darkness, if you will, your choice, if you're smart, is sit down, sit still, knock, ask, receive, go in, go in. I'm telling you, it's more beautiful, it's more comforting, it's more available than anything outside. It doesn't take a lot to get there. It just takes knock, knock. And if you go in and you do sit, I mean, they do give you a rocking chair and a blanket and all that stuff, but not for long, because then they say, okay, now there's an adventure ahead. Now there is a journey into the depth of being. There is a journey. And that journey takes you into unknown spaces in yourself, emotionally, dramatically, individually, uniquely yours. And you start to go on this journey, and you feel, my experience is that you are holding a hand, kind of like your mother's hand when you were 2 years old, but you are holding a hand and it's got you. And you walk through this new landscape, which is an internal landscape of your own existence, maybe collective existence, but you walk through it and you see the world. You know, Dante had Beatrice taking him through hell, but she was holding his hand to guide him through a world of non-manifested, unmanifested reality, but it is in many ways source reality for all of this. And there's a lot to see. And the mind is not a processor for all of that. And you will be reminded over and over, let go, be quiet, witness, just witness what is. There's a lot to be witnessed. If you try to bring your mind, body, old egoistic self into this journey, you will be terrified. You will be awed. You will be amazed. You will be everything. Hold on, because you're held. Be held. Walk through this world of inner space and see who and what you are. And it will announce you to yourself. And the you that you meet ultimately isn't held by anybody. There is no hand. You will let go of all the comfort and all the control and all of the support, and you will realize, I am that. I am that, and in all of its manifestation, in the outer world and in the inner world, in the depths, in the heights, you are that totality. And when you get the strength to let go of the hand and just move through it, what you discover is, in spite of not having anybody having your back in a hand-holding way, what you do have is a knowing, an unbelievably strange knowing or availability to the movement and of time, space, creation, and the absence of those three things. Because at some point, time, space, and creation are gone. They're gone. And there is still this exquisite witness. And it isn't being held in a way, it is holding. It is that which holds. It is that which is. It is that which makes this what it is. And again, you are that. You are that. And if you know that, if you feel that, if you have come through years of practice into witnessing that, holding the world on your shoulders will mean not like it's nothing, because it's still, my God, it's remarkable, miraculous creation. But it's not totality. It's a reflection of totality, and you are the totality. And if you come to know that, and not know it just intellectually or even intellectually, and not know it just in your heart or even in your heart, you come to know it in a kind of, I would say, full-bodied way, but it's not even bodied. It's just, oh, it's really hard to describe. And I got to say, even having it, and I have been blessed with moments of having it, I'm also blessed with moments of not having it. So it arises and it disappears. But Michael Ehrlich, was a friend, cousin, student, came up with this amazing image the other day of alternating current, of light in a light bulb is a product of alternating current. The light has a current that comes in and goes away, comes in and goes away. It needs to come in and it needs to disappear. Alternating current is a really interesting sort of analogy or metaphor for our spiritual work, because we get filled with light and then it's gone. The thing that gave it that is gone. And I'm telling you, you have to not relate to the absence. You have to relate to the light itself. And it's a process of arriving and disappearing, but it doesn't matter, because the force that creates the alternating current of light and luminosity or illumination is you. You are that. You are that. And then as you settle in, it's work. And the thing I've really understood is there's no end to the work. And the work has one simple thing of going, sure, okay. Okay. Instead of going, oh God, more work. Oh yeah, I can't keep doing this. All the stuff that we do, one has to, in a way, overcome that. If you're going to bear the weight of the world on your shoulders, you've got to be in a very, very simple, strong space that goes, okay. You're not bearing actual physical weight. You're bearing the drama and the illusion and the reality of existence from a place of such simple surrender, such simple openness, such kindness and generosity that you allow it all and you go, okay. It's the only way through. It's the only way. If you're trying to save the world, God bless, go for it. If you're trying to save yourself, God bless, go for it. But the great journey is into working into a place where you realize you are the outer, you are the inner, you are the world, you are that which removes you from the world. You are permanence and impermanence at the same time. You are this mystical, incapable, impossible ground of being that cannot be grasped or understood. And it's enough. It's fine. I don't claim total anything. I'm only talking to you in the way I have been, in a sense, led to or encouraged to speak. I don't know that I'm speaking the truth, but it definitely speaks to this being. If it speaks to you, take it in. If it doesn't speak to you, go out and get placards and protest the world. I would say you should go vote. I think you should pay your electrical bill. I think you should do the things you need to do in the world, because we're all part and parcel of that. But don't think that's going to take care of it. It's only the outer manifestation, and there is an inner unmanifestation that's just as important. All of you sort of know that, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here. But these talks are both for you and for my grandchildren or anybody else who might hear them down the road, and maybe for nobody. Maybe it's meaninglessly just wasting time. On the other hand, I think everyone who tries to speak truth to the world in their way Anyone who tries to love and appreciate and enjoy other human beings and not judge them for what they are or are not, anyone who is kind to other people will find that opens doors dramatically to how to live your life. It helps in a world if you don't have an inner life, just to try to live it from a place of thy will be done, or allowing others to have prominence over you. And if you can do that, if you can be a kind force, that will kind of get at the lack of a meditative life. It helps, it's work, it's the world's work. But a meditative life just adds, it allows you to take on the world, and it allows you to step back simultaneously. That's not a bad choice, not a bad place to be. So do the work, do the work. Sit still, find the rocking chair inside, get the warm blanket, sit there, rest by the fire, and then when they take your hand on the deeper, longer journey into even more awareness, go for the ride, see where it takes you, and then bring it back here, and you will share it with others, whether it's verbally, whether it's emotionally, whether it's psychically, it doesn't matter. You will share it with each other, with everyone around you, and if you share it with just one person, you've done enough. Just one person. And you don't even have to make it like that. It can just be like that to the world. Just be that in the world. It's enough. And it's really the work. And if there's ever been a time where that work is going to be really fruitful and really meaningful, we have arrived at that. And I'll talk about that probably week by week, probably with nothing more really to add to the equation. But until you all stop showing up, I'll repeat it. And it takes a while to connect, but the important, real part of it is, without the work, you are you will be crushed by the weight of the world, and you don't want that if you can avoid it. So, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening to these words. And if there are any questions about any of this, I am happy to try to answer
them. Bruce?
Dale.
I'm so glad you mentioned your talks that are available on YouTube, because sometimes I need words to kind of move me away from the world and to help me get on that inner road. And I find that often I can look on YouTube and find a talk that just helps me do that. It just kind of shuts out the burden of the world and allows me to go inside.
I'm very grateful for that, and I know your responsiveness to what I'm sharing, and you and I had a wonderful exchange this week about proactivity in terms of dealing with our families and putting ourselves out there to make changes in the world. Proactivity is really important, so watching you utilize that from last week's talk into your experience this week, I found it as moving as you did. Really, really beautiful. So it talks to sharing. It talks to value of putting things forward and then having something come back out of it. Often you don't get a return. Often you don't know the result. But proactivity in life means, especially now in terms of the weight of the world on your shoulders, what can you do to acknowledge that everyone around you is feeling the weight? Everyone around you is being crushed on some level. What can you do? And I'm trying to find that, and I'm starting to reach out into the world in places that are so close and familiar. My own daughter-in-law, I've never had a one-on-one lunch with my daughter over all these years, ever. So tomorrow we're going out for lunch. I'm praying it's going to be a good lunch. We have all sorts of unspoken words over, 15 years of our lives. But, she's always felt like an adjunct, I think, to the family because she's my son's wife, but that's not who she really is. And it's time to have that not be the case. So I just said, would you go out to lunch? She said, yes. She named the restaurant. We're going to show up. It's a simple thing, but I think we need to take on those kinds of choices right now because they really allow the world to be changed by our higher directive. So we don't just sit back and swim in it and enjoy it and just feel like, oh yeah, now I'm comforted. No, bring it out. Go out into the world. No agenda, no judgment, no purpose other than allow the other person to be in your life, to be connected in some way. It's a discovery rather than a pedantic kind of, hi, I'm here and I got to give you all my stuff. It's not that. It's just the opposite. So I encourage everybody out there and here, if you have people who could benefit from an inner exchange, don't wait for it to manifest. Don't wait for time to bring it. You're the time. You're the thing. Make it happen. So, but anyway, your thing last week with your son and mine with my son, yours brought me to tears, sort of mine. But finally having the dialogue you needed to have is really, really important. Really important. Anybody else? Okay. There will be no class next week, either LA or not, or here, California or here. But the week after, there will be class, and I'm staying pretty constant on the schedule. So it will be another New York in-person class in 2 weeks. So right here in our new room, which is it's not really new.
Lovely.
This is our sunroom. I don't know exactly. The room. I mean, it goes on. I mean, it's really, really kind of a really
beautiful,
really nice space.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to have it. It means I can live here quietly, and I'm getting more and more students who don't want to climb upstairs to the room that I'm using for so long. So this is now the downstairs, but in fact, in a way, it's a vision of a room that I once imagined over my classroom, which would have been 2 stories up. So this is the easy access space where we can all just kind of gather. And I hope it works. I'll check in with everybody here. If they don't like it, I'll make changes again. But I love you all. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. I'm so happy to see you in Nice. It's really beautiful. All of you, it's just great to have you show up. And thank you very, very much. And we will talk soon.